Yo guys, what is up? We are here back on another video on llama art. These videos that I'm reacting is not owned by me. It is owned to llama art. He's a great guy with great reaction videos. I think he's working with another guy. I forgot his name. So yeah, let's start reacting to some video. Hey, what the hell is Luxie? Oh guys, what? Oh, he looks creepy. What the?
Ho!
What the hell? I did not mean to shoot it. Okay. Wait a minute. If yourself cannot release it, it will come to take a piece. What the hell does that mean? Are they on drugs and why only 4 fingers? Do it. Just throw it. Oh shit. What the hell? Oh my god. Just do it, lady. Just put that dumb ring in the toilet. Everything will be normal. God. People make a lot of dumb decisions. Why would you ever look over there? Come on. What the? What the hell just happened? Yeah, oh my god. Holy shit. What the? Is she getting raped? Oh my god. Why would his head pop out of that? Hurry up and throw the damn ring. Oh. Well, good thing you did it, you dumb lady. What kind of stupid lady would do that? Well, at least it's over. Wait, what? It's not over? Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Oh my god. You better get the hell out of there. Oh my. Oh. What kind of scream is that? Literally. The ring. Oh my god. They're kind of funny and kind of scary. Oh my god, what the hell? Oh my god, what the hell was that? Let's watch another video. What the? Oh, I thought that was a real puppy.
What is that?
That's my new best friend.
Your best friend's delicious. Truly sour gummies. Really awesome.
Oh, what the hell? I wanted to get a real dog even though it's supposed to be for eating.
It was approaching the end of summer, and my friends and I wanted to do some cool, mischievous things before going back to school. So, we had the genius idea one night to sneak into a nearby community pool.
Whoa,
It was
that
actually only
girl
a
looks
couple
way
blocks
too
away.
light.
It's right
Literally.
smack in the middle of a
I'm being
residential
mean,
area.
wait, is that
So
a
instead of sitting on a
vision?
main road or something, it actually just sat around a bunch of houses on a quiet road. During a hot day, the little parking lot would be full and the spot would be bustling. But at 1 in the morning, the place was of course dead. There's obviously a big fence surrounding the whole front entrance, as well as a cage that gets closed up when the place closes. So our best way was to get in through the side. We snuck into the backyard of a neighboring house and hopped the fence over to the pool. It
Oh
was
my
as
god,
easy
why
as
would you ever
that.
do that?
The four of us took off our shirts and jumped into the pool, which in retrospect wasn't smart, since any of the neighbors could have heard the splashes and just called the police. But we were dumb high schoolers. It was very,
Yeah, you're
very
really
dark
dumb.
within that hole enclosing. This pool had no lights, which is why it closed at sunset. James, Courtney, and Alyssa were on the other side of the pool, as I was just kind of doing my own thing at first, swimming around and getting my face wet. I saw Alyssa get out of the pool shortly after and run away. I swam over to see what was going
What
on.
did she do?
She was just going to the water fountain, though. The three of us just bopped around in the water for a bit, and eventually we heard Alyssa jump back into the pool from the other side. It was too dark to see much more than her black hair covering her face.
Oh, whoa.
But just
What
then we
the
heard
hell?
Alyssa playfully call something to us as she was walking back to the pool. The three of us in the pool looked at each other. I know they were doing the same thing as me, counting heads. There were three of us on this side of the pool, and here came Alyssa walking over to our side.
What
So
the?
who was that on the other side? Alyssa got in, but the three of us were distracted, looking at the head bopping around the water across the pool.
What the?
James said
What kind
across
of
the
stupid
pool,
people would
"Who
do
is
that?
that?"
Get the hell out of the
Not even
pool.
2 seconds later, the head went underwater and disappeared from view.
Oh my god.
We took this time to whisper to each other, mostly things like, what should we do? What if that's security? And should we run? Suddenly I felt something grab my leg with force and tried pulling me down into the water. I kicked, splashed, and yelled for help. James came over to pull me out of the pool, while the girls were already running for it, screaming.
Really? You have to help your
It wasn't
friend. It's
until I
your
got to
fault.
the stairs of the pool that the grip on my leg was released and I was free.
Oh,
We hopped the same fence we climbed over to get in and ran all
that's
the way
great.
back to
You finally
Alyssa's
got
house.
released, stupid
I
people.
was convinced that whoever that was a security guard. That is, until they literally tried to pull me under the water.
Well, that's not a
I
security
don't know
guard.
what to
That shit
think.
look like a
There are a few
creepypasta.
possibilities. Maybe it was just another kid messing with us. Maybe it was a security guard who went way too far. Or most likely, it was a dangerous person who had ill intent.
What the? Is that Jeff, the killer? What the? Okay, let's watch some hiking stories.
That's good, because I can't whistle. What's whistling anyway? You put your lips together and blow.
I really don't understand what that was. Literally, not the video, the ad. Okay, now it's a hiking horror story.
3
See
months
how it
after I
goes.
turned 16 in 2005, I got my first car, a 99 Toyota Camry. On a warm Saturday night, when my friend Alex invited me over to one of his friend's big parties, I knew I wouldn't be in a condition to drive the Camry home afterward. So we carpooled with Alex's girlfriend, Brianna. We lived in the countryside of Virginia, meaning less big parties. Meaning when there was a big party, it was a huge deal and everyone would go. We lived about 5 to 10 minutes away from this kid's house. I knew where he lived as I was acquainted with him, but not exactly friends. The whole ride there, we took the same 2-lane highway type road through the woods, and this kid's house was actually on this road further down.
I'm
At
actually a
certain
little
points on this
sleepy.
road, there were a few houses on either side, and then it
Oh,
would
and
just go
please
back
do
to
not
being a
watch this
long,
before
empty
bed.
highway
Oh my
again.
god, I had a big
The house
nightmare
was
about
tiny,
Lixie.
like a lot of houses
Holy
around the
shit, he
area,
almost
but the
killed
party
me.
was held outside anyways, since his closest neighbors were relatively far away, and noise wasn't an issue. I'll skip most of the party up until the point that Brianna, who was supposed to be our designated driver, had to suddenly leave for a small family emergency. Alex said it was fine and that we'd find a ride home. Well,
Oh my
fast
god,
forward
it
another
was
few
not
hours
fun
and
to
another
ride
few
home.
drinks, and I could barely even walk straight. I checked my watch, and it was like 2 in the morning. I figured it was time to go. I started looking for Alex, but I couldn't find him anywhere. In fact, it seemed like everybody I knew had already left. I could barely even think straight, but I was still furious at the fact that Alex could have actually left without me. I asked to use the party host's phone and dialed Alex's home number. After 2 tries, I gave up and then realized I shouldn't wake his family up. So, literally not knowing what else to do, I dizzily stepped out onto the road and began walking back home. I knew this
Holy
walk would
shit,
take
why
anywhere
would you
from
do
half
that?
an hour to an hour in my
It
condition.
would be almost 3
Maybe after
a.m.
15 minutes of walking down the road, the slight shine of car headlights on the road was fading in from behind me.
What the?
Jumping for joy inside, I lifted up my arm and stuck out my thumb. As the car neared, it slowed down and came to a stop right next to me. The man driving the '98 Ford Explorer rolled down the window and asked where you headed. I told him my house was just down the road and beyond a right turn, probably slurring my words beyond comprehension. He chuckled and told me to hop in. I thanked him and
Why
joyously
would
hopped
you
into
ever
the
do
truck.
that?
I was exhausted, and I remember completely disregarding things the guy was asking me because I was so close to just passing out. And that's what happened. The memories of being in
What
that
the?
truck turned to a fog, as I'm sure I passed out.
What the hell?
The next thing I remember, I woke up still in the moving truck. The guy looked at me and laughed, but didn't say anything. I looked around and realized the road we were on wasn't familiar. I nervously asked, where are we going? He then said, so what were you doing out this late anyway? As the man answered my very straightforward question with another irrelevant question, the sobering reality of the situation hit me.
Really, why would you should just get out the
You can
car.
let me out anywhere, I told the man. The man responded with a firm no.
What the?
I felt like throwing up as he said that. No, I really actually felt like I was going to throw up. I started to gag as I felt more and more nauseous by the second. The man took his eyes off the road to look at me, and that's when I thought of the perfect distraction. I turned in his direction as I continued to gag, and he started to kind of lean away and slow down the car. Thankfully, I drank as much as I did because I finally threw up and made a point of doing it all over the man's lap. The man yelled in frustration and stopped the
Good
car,
idea.
and that's when I took it upon myself to
Yeah,
run for my
run,
life into the
bitch,
woods and
run.
duck behind a few bushes.
He's gonna die.
The man came following into the woods with a flashlight, and on 2 separate occasions, he shined the light straight over me without noticing. Eventually, I heard his footsteps walk even further into the woods past me. That was when I ran back to his truck, but unfortunately, he was smart enough to lock it. By some miracle, I saw another car approaching in the distance, and I ran out into the middle of the street, waving my arms like a lunatic. The car tried to avoid me, but I wouldn't let it. They were forced to stop, and I yelled at them to help me before they came back. Once I told them that I was kidnapped by the man who was driving that Ford Explorer, the driver agreed to give me a lift. Not to the police station or anything, but to my house. I made it back safely, where I couldn't thank the driver enough. I immediately woke up my parents and told them. My dad wanted to know if I got his tag number, and then I felt like punching myself in the face. I failed to get the simplest information from the guy that would have allowed me to actually properly report him. All I knew was that he drove a faded blue '99 Ford Explorer. I made sure to give Alex a piece of my mind, and part of me always held a grudge against him ever since, just for abandoning me at a party without telling me. I haven't seen him in 4 years now, however, and this was actually the first time I even thought about this incident for almost a year now. As time goes on, even the worst of memories may start to fade, but after writing this to share with the internet, it's once again fresh in my mind.
Whoa. My God. House sitting. Let's check what's this. Dude, I'm actually getting spooked. What the? What the? What in the world is that? Oh, yeah. Also, you can also install Future Fight. Yeah, you can sponsor me if you want, but either way, you should download it. It's a really good game. So yeah, let's check out this video. What the?
A couple weeks ago, my dad came home and pitched me
I
a
thought it
small
was by
job
somebody
offer.
else.
One of his coworkers was going away for a few days and needed somebody he could trust to watch over his house. The reason my dad pitched this to me was because the man's house has a big CCTV system, basically a camera in every room, and then an operating desk where all screens could be watched on a big monitor. And
Well,
I'm
why
a
would you
computer
ever do
science
that?
major, so my dad just always assumes that I know how to work anything technological. The man told my dad that he'd pay me $200 for the 2 days just to watch the house, whatever that meant. My dad drove me to the house and introduced me to the man, whose name doesn't matter. The man made it seem like he preferred I stay in the upstairs room with the monitors as opposed to roaming the house all day. That was fine with me, though. So when I wasn't eating, I was mostly just sitting in that room with the TV on in the background and doing schoolwork on my laptop. Ironically, the thing I
Why
was
would you
doing the
do
least was
schoolwork?
keeping
You
an
have
eye
to
on
check
the
the damn
monitors.
cameras. Make sure there's
Night
nothing
came.
happening.
I started wondering where in the house I should sleep, since surprisingly, we hadn't discussed that. So I sat back down at the desk and looked at all the different rooms on the screens to see which rooms had beds or couches. I noticed something I wasn't expecting to notice, though. The back screen door was open downstairs. I didn't remember it being open. I looked through each and every camera screen in a panic. In the living room, a closet door was open. This one I knew wasn't open earlier. I texted my dad to call the man and ask him if he came back home. Meanwhile, I continued watching the screen. On the grainy, dark image, a tall person who resembled only a black shadow on the screen stepped out from the closet. I pulled my arms off the desk as I covered my mouth with my hands in shock. As I did this, however, my left elbow pulled some heavy object from the desk onto the floor, creating a big thud. The person in the image very clearly moved their head up to the ceiling as a response to the noise. They went for the stairs, walking up very, very slowly, step by step. Meanwhile, I got a text back from my dad saying, "No, he's not. I just spoke to him half an hour ago. Why?" I got so caught up in my phone texting my dad to send help that I didn't even pay attention to the monitor.
Dude, pay attention to me.
There was a knock at the door. I looked at it and then the screens. The first screen I laid my eyes on was the one showing the person outside the door to the room I was in. When I remembered that door had no lock, the only thing I could think to do was jump out the window into the bushes below. I ran halfway down the block and then
That's a
stopped when
smart
my dad
idea.
called me. I had him call his friend and ask him if he was expecting somebody in the house.
Oh, one sec.
The man said
Sorry, but there's
or
a
would ever let
really
themselves
loud
into his
train.
home. So he called the cops and had them review the footage. I got to watch all of it, and it showed everything. From the moment the intruder broke the glass of the backyard door to the moment I jumped out the window and him running away shortly after. The intruder was never found. The footage was just too dark to identify his face.
Yo, that is so creepy. So yeah, that's the end. So I'll probably react to more videos. So yeah, Freddy Savage out.